Vanakkam everyone, I am Ruby Alice and I am happy to present today's talk in the Sindhi Poem Sarapom series. Before I begin, let me thank all my subscribers and the viewers who keep watching my podcast regularly and posting your comments here and also sending it to me personally. Thank you very much. It's indeed a great encouragement for me to receive all your comments and your feedback. It is so important for me. Today's talk is a continuation of the previous talk on feminism. If you have not watched it, I suggest that you please watch it by clicking the link that is given below in the description box. And then you may start listening to it because this is again a continuation of yesterday's talk. In today's talk, we'll see why women tried to free themselves from the patriarchal mindset, what or who made them understand that they had to break free, and the people who fought to liberate women from the evil social practices. European history shows that it wasn't until the 16th century that women felt the need to find a place for themselves among the men in the male-dominated society and challenged the notion that women existed only to please men. An example of which I had cited yesterday in Greek's mindset. Mary Wollstonecraft wrote that women are naturally rational as men. If they are silly, it is only because society trains them to be irrelevant. In the United States, women try to apply the notions of freedom and equality to their own social and political situations. And by the mid-19th century, feminism brought in social changes across Europe and North America. With the British rule in India and exposure to Western system of education, the Britishers crying foul at the ill treatment of women, some Indian men and women got influenced by the Western notions of equality and justice. The establishment of schools and universities paved way for feminism to gain entry into India and saw women seeking civil, political, religious rights like the Western counterparts. The same wave of feminism that swept through Europe and North America came into India around the same time. Many historians quote that the abolition of sati was the first turning point in India's rise of feminism. And it is interesting to note that men like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, D.D. Karve or Dhondo Keshav Karve, Mahadev Govind Ranade and Behramji Malabari and many other men. They were all championing the cause of women in India. It is said that Raja Ram Mohan Roy could not bear to hear the cries of his sister-in-law who jumped into the funeral pyre of his brother Jagmohan, and he vowed to oppose this evil practice. So he led many protests and wrote a lot of petitions to the British calling for its abolition, and it was successfully banned in the year 1829. He also raised his voice to end polygamy and child marriages. When we're talking about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, he championed the cause of the Indian widows. He could not tolerate the young widows in Bengal shaving their heads, wearing white saris and leading a deplorable life. Since they were treated very badly in society, many of these ran away from their homes and took to prostitution to support themselves. So he voiced for widow remarriage to help them lead a normal life. While talking of feminist movement in India, mention should also be made of D.D. Karve, as I mentioned before, Dhondo Keshav Karve, who strove hard to remove the bias against widows. He established the Widow Marriage Association to promote widow remarriages, and he himself married a widow after his first wife's death. He also founded the Hindu Widows' Home in Pune to help the widows support themselves if they could not remarry. Then there was Mahadev Govind Ranade, who contributed a lot to abolish child marriages, support widow remarriage, and establish women's rights. Around the same time in Gujarat, Behramji Malabari advocated to remove child marriages and sought social reforms to end enforced widowhood. Along such male social reformers, some women tried hard to break free the shackles that bound them strongly. Some notable feminist ideals are Anandibai Joshi, who was the first woman doctor to study abroad. Married off at just 9 years to a man who was 20 years elder to her and who was a widower, she decided to become a physician to provide medical assistance to pregnant women after she lost her first child when she was just 14 years old. She was supported by her husband Gopal Rao Joshi, who stood by her to send her to the US to pursue her education. We should also be talking about Kadambini Ganguly, a confident young woman who struggled against all odds to become one of the first women graduates, and she went on to pursue medicine after this. Her husband Dwarkanath was a pillar of support to her. Ahmedabad, and also supported her decision to leave her children behind to pursue higher education in medicine in London. Through her lectures, she made the Calcutta Medical College admit women candidates. Kamini Roy, who spearheaded India's suffragist movement. It was due to her initiative, along with Kumudini Mitra and Mrinalini Sen, that the limited suffrage right to vote was granted to women in 1925. We should be talking about Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy from Pudukkottai. She was the first woman medical graduate of India and studied in a men's college and went on to becoming the first woman member of the Legislative Council. Being the daughter of a Devadasi herself, she knew the plight of the Devadasis and fought hard to abolish the Devadasi system. She saw that men exploited women because of the system, and she wanted to put an end to this. But the women freed from this toxic Devadasi system had to fight hard to overcome the stigma attached to them, and hence she started the Avai home to provide a safe shelter to these women. Then there was Pandita Ramabai, who started a center to support widows, and Rukmabai, who defied her child marriage and became India's first practicing lady doctor. It is interesting to note that she refused to go and live with her husband. She was married off very young, but she pursued her education and she never went to live with her in-laws. And when her husband moved the court, she refused. And she was supported by a lot of other activists who stopped her from going and living with her husband. A special mention must be made of Savitribai Phule and her husband Jyotirao Phule, who stood up against the practice of shaving the heads of widows. Savitribai went on to organizing a strike against the barbers to make them stop from shaving the heads of widows, and some of the widows were little children. She is also noted for starting a care center for sexually exploited women and pregnant rape victims. She also started a school for women in Pune. It was the first school in Pune. The fight to establish women's rights and to end evil social practices on the pretext of patriarchy did not end with the 19th century, and we see it continuing even today in the 21st century. Post-independence India saw a lot of women participating actively in education, politics, media, art and culture, service sectors, and science and technology. Female activists have played a pivotal role to end female infanticide, remove gender bias, promote female literacy, and fight against sexual exploitation. Due to the tireless work of these feminist activists, a lot of laws were amended to protect the rights of women. Having gone through all of these, don't you wonder if women have attained the liberation that they had sought to? Where does feminism stand now? What is to follow after this? All this will be discussed tomorrow. Hope you have enjoyed listening to my talk today. If you have, please like and share it to others, and don't forget to post your comments here. To those who are listening for the first time, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.